Hello, family and friends. This is MG with a new episode of the Reimagine You Lab podcast. And you guys know there's always somebody amazing that comes and visits us just each week. And so I am excited to introduce you, present to some, introduce to others. And before we get started, you guys know I have to do all of the housekeeping. So if you haven't already subscribed, please click the little bell so that each Friday when a new episode drops, you will be sure not to miss it. And also, we want to let you know that we will have all of the links and details inside of this episode so that you can get in contact with our guests. So, with that, we're going to get started. So, hello there, Jamie. How are you today?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing great. And so, Jamie, I already told you that we were going to jump in. I'm going to say, tell them we go beyond the bio. So, tell them who you are, where you're at, what you do, and how you do it.
Well, like you said, my name is Jamie Ferriman. I am actually located in Fort Worth, Texas. I am also the CEO and founder of Brie Candles LLC. And Brie Candles, basically, there's a big story behind it, but I create unique, very strong, fragrant candles and all natural body products. I am also a wife for 17 years to a wonderful man. I have 4 children. One of them is an angel and 2 grandbabies. And by an angel, she's actually my guardian angel now.
Okay. Well, Jamie, thank you so much for telling the folks about you. One of the things that I think is so important as we get started in today's episode is that a lot of times you'll start doing something, you'll take a gift, a skill, a talent, and turn it into this wonderful business. So let's start there. How did you get started with the candles?
All right. Well, it's going to go down in emotions real quick.
Yeah.
So in 2022, our middle oldest child, Bridgett, wound up taking her own life. And I, as a grieving mother, I was spiraling out of control. I was going downhill very quick. My husband tried so hard to bring me up and just help pull me out of it. And unfortunately, he was not able to do so. So we sat down one day and he told me, hey, you need to find basically a purpose. You need to find something to bring you out of this and just give you something to do to help with the grieving process. And so I was basically just scrolling the internet and I come across a story of a high schooler who started his own candle business and made $1 million that year. And I went, well, I'm not in it for the money. That would be great, but I'm not. I was doing it for a purpose. And so I looked at him. I was like, I think I want to do candles. He's like, okay. He goes, well, we love candles. And I was like, I know. Remember, we would always go to a store, multiple stores, and spend like hours smelling every candle several different times. You get so caught up in the moment.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to do that. So a couple months later, after all the research and all that, I started making them just for the house. It was just a hobby. That's all this was supposed to be. And so I started making, and I got addicted. So it's like every different fragrance, like, oh, I like this. Oh, I like this. And 200 fragrant bottles later. So my friends and family started coming over and they're like, what is this? And I'm like, well, I'm making candles. And they're like, oh my God, these smell great. Make me one. I'm like, okay, well, take this one and I'll make you whatever.
Yeah.
And then somehow my lovely husband, we went to work and he was telling people about that I was making candles. They're like, well, we want to smell them. So I would bring them to work, and then it just started exploding. It just started going everywhere. And I was like, well, and I talked to my husband. I was like, how would you feel if I did this as a business for many purposes? He's like, okay, what's your purposes? I'm like, one, to keep me going, to give me a purpose. Two, to provide more of a natural product. Because, you know, I have family members with several different types of conditions, allergies, just everything. And also to be able to help people like what Bridgett went through, finding resources and getting help before they do that final stage. Because, you know, inevitably we don't want to lose anybody. So, but they don't have enough resources for people to find help, to get help. And I'm like, how about I start donating part of my proceeds to help several different organizations to get funding to help more people, so people don't have to go through what we've gone through with Bridgett. And he said, all right. He goes, whatever you want to do. He goes, I'll back you 100%. And he has. And
what a blessing.
It just, I am now, it went from little Fort Worth, and now I'm becoming nationally known.
No, that's incredible. Incredible story. Even the start of it, what started, you know, as something tragic, has grown into something global now, just like you're saying, and kind of that national presence. You know, sometimes change, you know, when I think about the show and we have to reimagine, you know, life, our experiences lead us to places that we probably wouldn't have gotten to on our own, you know. And so I always like to, you know, just kind of call out, you know, when there's something that, you know, that was a big change, that's something totally different, unexpected, but it's leading you down a new path. What would you say to others, as you know, because sometimes we just talked before we came on air, about, you know, sometimes we are, and people hear me say this all the time, either we are, we lean into change, like it's a change that we're wanting to make and something that we have to do, and then sometimes we're forced into a change, and navigating that space and doing so. So for in this case, this was, you know, you found something new, so you was forced into, but and leaned into it. So how would you tell others, you know, who are navigating a journey of, you know, hey, there's a change that has impacted me? um what would be your inspiration or your encouragement to others?
Well, I mean, like you did say, change is inevitable, whether you're forced or you lean into it. So I have learned over the last couple of years, change is not always, and though it may seem like it at the beginning, it's not always a bad thing. My life has changed from basically 2020, because of COVID on. Every day I turn around and there's another change that either I was unexpecting, or sorry, not expecting, to anticipating it. But when it comes to change, grab it, make it your own, lean into it, and work it.
No, I love that. I love that. You know what? So thinking about candles, and everybody does, they love all the different scents and things like that. When you think about, like, even, you know, it was something, how has the process been for you even getting started? Like, this is you're new, right? You're on this, or was at the time. How long have you been doing the candles now?
About a year and a half.
Year and a half. All right. So how was that process, even coming back and learning something new? I think about myself in midlife, right? And it's like, okay, if somebody tells me, okay, Michelle, you got to do something new and different, which, I like, but everybody doesn't necessarily like, starting new. Hey, I haven't ever done this before, but I'm going to give it a shot and see what it's like and all of that. What has talk a little bit about that process, because I think it's helpful for people to know, at any point in time, you can change. You can do something different. You can learn something new, right? And take it and make it your own.
I completely agree. You can definitely own it. Um, it. I'm a creative person. I have been my entire life. I'm
Mhm.
all about DIYs, all about interior design. I do everything, and I love learning new things. And so, if I and I'm also a Virgo, so I research everything. I have to know every schematics of it. I have to know, can I do this? Can I do that? And honestly, making candles, a lot of people do it,
Mhm.
but there is an art form to it. There's basically a chemistry in the background that a lot of people aren't aware of. Like, you have to have the certain, wax that you choose, the fragrance, the percentage, the ounces, the grams, whichever measurement you use, the strength you want, the wicks. Oh my goodness, the wicks are the worst. um I've probably gone through at least a couple dozen different sizes of wicks trying to figure out which one worked for best for me. You definitely have to have patience when learning something new.
Mhm.
But if you don't try it, if you don't accept the change and accept the process and just learn a new thing, you're never going to experience life in a different way.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. It opens up a completely different chapter in your life, and it could either go or not, but either way
Mhm.
you're learning. Whether, nope, I can't do that, never doing that again, which I've had several of those, or you're like, hey, this actually worked, this is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. You know what? And that's one of the things that I love is that, you try it, just see, just give it a chance. I think that's a lot of times what keeps people on the fence is, hey, I don't know what the unknown is like. I don't know how it's going to work out, if it's going to be good, if it's going to be bad, if it's going to be indifferent, but I think that's part of what, we all have to do is just kind of embrace it and move it forward. Because if you weren't doing candles, you may have been doing something else.
Yeah, completely. I
Yeah.
probably would have never gone down this route, but I am very, very grateful I am here.
Yeah. No, I love that. What would you say is I always ask the question, what was the biggest change that changed you? And so with that, when you think about, this change, how have you changed? Not just, now I'm a business owner and I'm a candle maker, but how has it? You said you've always been creative, but what has this process and this new thing that you're doing? How would you say it has changed you? Maybe internally, or even with networking, or what have you? What have been those changes that you've seen in you since starting?
One of the So many years ago, my husband actually owned a business. We both
Mhm.
did, but it was basically his business.
Mhm.
I have always been behind the scenes. I like the paperwork and everything behind it. I was his marketing. I was, account manager. I did all behind the scenes. He was
Mhm.
always the face of public. And I liked it there because I'm a very grounded person. I don't like a whole lot of tension. I like being behind the scenes going, yeah, you did that. Congratulations. Yay. Awesome. I like supporting people.
Mhm.
Well, this business has brought me into the limelight. And at first I was like, I don't know if I want to do this because I'm not that person. Well, actually I found out I kind of am. I actually like being the center of attention for good reasons.
Yeah.
I now have found I've always helped people. Excuse me. Like with my husband's company, we would basically adopt a family during Christmas and provide them with, if they needed decorations, presents for themselves and their kids, food, stuff like that. And I've always loved doing that. But I took that aspect and poured it into my candle business, a little pun there.
I love it.
And now my focus is not only providing beautiful items, but it also helps in so many different ways. Like the candles, natural products, my bath products are natural. So I'm helping people with skin irritations, eczema, rosacea, psoriasis, and inflammation, stuff like that. But I'm showing people that no matter what life has thrown at you, you can spin it around and make it work for you and grow as a person.
Which is fantastic.
Now,
that's okay. We'll go on to another one. So,
okay.
Amy, there's always something going on. Well, Jamie, was there a moment when you got started? Like, how'd you come up with the business name and your brand concept for your business?
Okay. The way I came up with the business name was Bridgett was the daughter that we lost. Her nickname was always Bree. We called her Bree.
Okay.
And so, or Bridge. And I wanted to basically honor her. And so I named it after her, Bree Candles. And there's there's 3 words underneath my logo. It says beautiful, relaxing, and irresistible. And I used those words because it basically described her. And I wanted to implement her image, being beautiful, she was very chill person, down to earth, relaxing all the time. And so does the candles. Candles help you relax. The irresistible part was she would basically just start laughing. She always was giggling and laughing and just
that
very
personality.
Yes. And so I wanted to incorporate all those into my candles. And I think I've successfully done that.
Yeah. Oh, it sounds like it. If you don't mind, and feel free to just be like, Michelle, I don't want to answer any more questions here. When you think about, because I love that beautiful and relaxing and irresistible as part of your brand moniker, and bringing that to life. I imagine that she still lives on, like she's still a big part of what it is that you're doing and such every day.
Yes, it is. She every every candle that I make, I literally take a part of her life and name it after that. So it's her story through my candles. To give an example, Poppy's Garage is one of my popular ones. It's mahogany teakwood is the fragrance.
Oh, I love
and the memory with that is when we would go over to my dad's house, we always hung out in the garage. I don't know why. We just did. We'd go inside, but we'd always migrate back out to the garage. That's where we all hung out. And his name was Poppy. And So I called it Poppy's Garage to make that memory last.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that. You know what? Thinking about, the candles, and I love that story of Poppy's Garage. I'm gonna have to get me a Poppy's Garage candle now. When was the moment? Because I'm sure that there was, when you knew this idea and this business was something special.
Back in June of last year, I
Mm-hmm.
had Shout Out DFW magazine reach out. It was the first one that ever reached out. And
Mm-hmm.
at first I thought it was spam email. I'm like, no. But I reread it for like a week and I'm like, no, I actually think this is legit. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
but why? And so I reached out to them. They're like, well, we actually learned about you because of an event you went to. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay. And one of our producers was there and they fell in love with your story. And I'm like, so I'm, in back of my head going, who did I talk to? I couldn't remember. But
Mm-hmm.
when they told me they wanted to do an article about me and the backstory, I'm like, all right, I may have something here. And
Mm-hmm.
then a couple months later, I had another one and another one. And I've had, I think, total of 9 magazine articles, and they're still
Yeah.
coming.
Yeah.
So to me, that means, okay, I'm doing something right.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%, 100%. You know what? And I think a lot of times, we talk a lot about storytelling in the business that I'm in. It's communications, it's sharing with people. Even the hard things. Because sometimes it's hard.
Yeah.
Experiencing a loss. Of your child. Um, you know but yeah, you're now able to make an impact and to highlight what others might have been going through and make it easier. If it can be, I don't know that it can be easier, but can help.
It definitely can help knowing that somebody else has gone through it. Somebody knows your pain. Um,
Mhm.
uh, a little bit of more information.
Mhm.
We have actually, our family has gone through a lot in the
Mhm.
last 3 years. We lost Bridgett in May of 2022. We lost
Mhm.
my aunt, Maureen, literally a year later on May 1st. And
Mm.
then February 17th, we lost my grandmother of 97. And then April 3rd of last year, we lost my dad.
Mm.
And I, because of all this loss, I've actually learned how to be more sympathetic
Mhm.
and help people basically get out of the grief and find something to give them purpose. Because losing someone, it doesn't matter if it's a child, if it's a parent, a sibling, anybody, friend, it's gonna hit us all a different way.
Yeah.
And but either way, you lost somebody and your heart and world is shattered, which changes you so much, whether you realize it or not, that I want to be able to give them inspiration and give them hope. Life does get better. You will always have the grief,
Mhm.
regardless, but it does get better. Don't allow it to change you into the worst way. Take the change and make something better out of it.
Yeah. No, I love that. That's so good. That's so good. Would you when you're thinking about how, or tell, do you have any stories that you can tell of somebody that I love the 9 different magazines have reached out and and had wanted to highlight you and your story there in Texas, and I'm sure even outside of Texas. um Share with us a little bit about some of the people that the candles have touched and have made a difference for them, because I'm sure that there are those, you've got those stories too.
Yes, I have several stories. um, one of my favorite connection is I was at a little craft fair, probably about October of last year, and I had a lady come up, and she was smelling all my candles, and she's like, "Oh my God, this reminds me of my son." And I'm like, "Oh, that's wonderful." I'm like, "Where's your son?" She's like, "Well, he passed." And I'm like, stomped just right there, because you're like, "Oh my gosh." And I told her, I was like, "I am so sorry." And so we had a conversation about, how he passed. And I shared with her that I know you're feeling and I understand your feeling, regardless of how they left us, it's still the same.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Well, okay." She goes, "So what do you do?" And I explained the whole purpose behind Brie Candles is to help people, for resources and stuff like that, and able to connect. And so she and I are actually closer. She said she doesn't buy from anybody else anymore because she loves the purpose behind these. And of course, she does love my candles.
Yeah.
But I actually do something a little special for her. She has a little setup with his picture, and she always lights a candle for him. Well, she brought me Catholic candle jars with, Sister Mary or Mother Mary. I don't remember how they
Yeah.
refer to her.
Those
So
kind of like
don't
tall
get mad at me
cylinders
for
and
not
kind of,
saying that
yeah.
right. But she brings me these containers that she uses for her son, for his table. And I fill them for her, and she takes them home and burns them, 24/7, which you're not supposed to do, but I get it.
Yeah.
So I make sure that they're safe because I know what she's doing, but I'm helping her, you know, honor her son while also providing a natural, safer burning candle for her.
Yeah.
And that bond is there. I talk to her every week or so.
Wow. You know what? That's the thing that I think that people really, when kind of go outside of your space or what's normal and do something new or different, that there's always somebody that was almost waiting on you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That there's that meetup, that connection point where somebody really does need who you are and what it is that you do to make a difference in their life. Gosh,
Yes.
that's an incredible story.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like you were meant to find each other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that is so true. Like, I don't think there are any coincidences or, I think that there are times where, it is just, it's connected and it's divine, and that's so good. That's so good that you're able to do that. Um, I swear the time always seems to go so quickly. I mean, how they do. Where do you see like the candle business going in the next few years? What kind of things are you doing?
Well, so I actually, part of another change that has happened for me,
Mm-hmm.
and I have to share this to be able to get you to where I'm going. Um, the International Association of the Top Professionals, back has been, I want to say February, March, somewhere around there,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
actually awarded me with the top candle designer and owner of 2025.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And so that was another pivotal moment in my career that has changed so much because of them. I am so, so grateful. They're one of the reasons why I've been getting more news articles, and
Mm-hmm.
I now actually have a publicist. I also have a really good friend that is a celebrity writer.
Uh-huh.
We kind of did the whole we're meant to be together kind of thing. We were meant
Yeah.
to find each other. She's a wonderful lady, and she's been helping me get places. And so my main goal is become nationally known. I want to be a home name.
Yes.
And it's not for bragging rights. It's if I'm a home name, that means I'm helping more people.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
and which means I can donate more. I can, because my
Mm-hmm.
goal is to sell $1 million,
Mm-hmm.
not a million, a million products a year because I want to be able to donate $1 million.
Yeah.
And so my first goal, small goal right now, is just to open a brick and mortar. And
Mm-hmm.
I would love to have that by this September.
Okay.
Um, and it seems like it's going to actually work because I'm getting in front of so many new people, so many business owners and stuff like that, through, you know, different types of media.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to start off with just a brick and mortar.
Mm-hmm.
And then I, my ultimate goal is to have at least 2 to 3 manufacturing facilities.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure about having a store in every state, but I'd like to be like in a 3 to 4 hour window from major cities.
Okay.
So maybe about 10 to 20 different stores just to
Start. Mm-hmm.
be there.
Yeah.
I have an ultimate goal, and I want to be a home brand name.
I
And
love it.
apparently it's starting to work. So
Yeah, it's happening. It is absolutely happening. I love it. I love it. I love what you're doing. I love that you're thinking big and moving towards these big goals, because that's really like what part of the motivation that keeps you going. Like even
yeah.
when there's days when it's not perfect, but I've got a goal.
Yeah.
So I
Well,
keep
some days
going.
you like, I don't want to get out of bed. And then, the candlelight switches on. You're like, all right, we're doing it.
We gotta go. I love it. I love it. Well, before I close every show, I always ask to give us three of the main things that you would say, or advice, the three best pieces of advice that you would give to change makers.
Wow. Um, accept it. Grab onto it, hold it, make it work for you. Don't fight it.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna happen. Regardless if you want change to happen or not, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And the best advice is grab onto it, give it a hug, form it, mold it into whatever you think would work for you.
Yeah.
So if it's like just a pile of salt sitting there, well, you can melt it down and turn it into something.
Mm-hmm.
So you can always make the best out of any change.
I love that. Jamie, it has been a pleasure. Now, Jamie, so the people can get any of those candles that you have, because I know that you ship and you get them to whoever needs them wherever they are. Make sure that we give it, share with it with our listening audience before we close out where they can find you. And we're going to put the links inside of the description anyway, so they'll get them. But I always like to share it live as well too.
My website is bricandlesshop.com. That's BRICANDLE shop, SHOP.com.
Got
Um,
it.
and you can go there, and I have almost every different social media platform. So if you go to my website, go all the way down to the bottom past the news articles and all that, you can actually see all my social media links, and just follow me because I constantly release new products. I have sales. I have a lot going on, and I'd love
I
for
love
everybody
it.
to join me.
Absolutely. So www.briecandleshop.com. Check out the link in the description. You guys make sure that you tune in and or Jamie, thank you for coming and sharing Bree Candle Shop with us today. It has been a pleasure having you on as a guest.
Well, thank you so much for doing this. I truly appreciate it. It's been an honor literally sitting here talking to you. You are a fantastic woman. I love what you're doing.
Thank you so much, ma'am. All right, everybody. Well, this I hate to close the shows because they're always so good. I always have the best guests, I tell you. So make sure that if you haven't already, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, a comment. And we look forward to seeing you next week. And until then, have a great day.